Welcome, friends, to another exciting episode of A VGM Journey. And I'm your host, The Messenger. The track that we're playing in today's show is Unused track from the game The Real Ghostbusters, and it was composed by Azusa, Hara, and Hiroaki Yoshida. This week on the show, we're going to cover a bunch of unused / beta music. A lot of stuff that it was composed for these games, but was wound up not being used in the final product. And I gotta say, I can't believe that some of this stuff wasn't used, because it's pretty great stuff. And we're going to start things off with the track that inspired me to do this episode, and that is the unused prototype song from DuckTales, and this track was composed by Hiroshige Tonomura. That track that you just listened to, that was Unused Prototype song from the game DuckTales, and it was composed by Hiroshige Tonomura. It is pretty amazing the things that we can discover after so many years, because DuckTales, it's a 30-year-old game. And yes, this didn't make it into the final product, but there was a prototype that was found pretty recently, and there were actually a couple tracks that were undiscovered until now, and it's some pretty good stuff. I mean, it is DuckTales. It's got that Capcom sound to it, and I'm just glad that things like this can still be found to this day. This next track, I think it's a really good one. It's coming from the game Gimmick. This is Strange Memories of Death, and it was composed by Masashi Kageyama. That track that you just heard, that was Strange Memories of Death from the game Gimmick, and it was composed by Masashi Kageyama. Man, that Sunsoft NES music, so good. And to be honest, I find the name of the track to be pretty odd, especially for a cutesy game like Gimmick. And the song, oh boy. I just love the drums and the bass, and it's fast paced. Really, really good stuff. And it was kind of a shame that it didn't come out here in North America, at least for the NES. And it wound up not coming over here until the Wii Virtual Console when they decided to, hey, release that on that. And this song, I think it sounds like it could have been like really good stage one type of music. But I can't believe that something as amazing as this was just left unused for the game. This next track, it's got a little bit of an interesting history. This is coming from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. This is Hidden Palace Zone, and it was composed by Masato Nakimura. That track that you just heard, that was Hidden Palace Zone from the game Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and it was composed by Masato Nakimura. Where do I even begin with this track? Well, for starters, there was quite a bit of cut content from Sonic the Hedgehog 2 that just wound up not making it into the game, including this zone, the Hidden Palace Zone. And what's pretty weird is this song is in the final game, and you could listen to it on the sound test. It's actually track number 10, and as a Sonic 2 song, it's really weird because a lot of the stage music, it's got a lot of energy, pretty fast paced, but this is a much slower, more calming sounding track. It's kind of sounds a little sad. And what was pretty amazing was that later on, I think in like 2012, 2013, there was a mobile port of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for Android and iOS that has the Hidden Palace Zone. Whoever was in charge of porting the game, they developed the level based off of assets that they could find, and they recreated the level. Except they wound up not using this song. They used the Mystic Cave Zone 2-player song instead. But doing research for this specific track, I did find out that there is a cheat that you could put in using, you got to pick the tracks in the sound test in a certain order, and that you will gain access to what is called the Proto Palace Zone, which was more in the layout of the original Hidden Palace Zone that was planned for the game, and it plays this song. So I thought that was pretty amazing. So I know there were quite a handful of other zones that people have seen screenshots of, or they were shown off in these prototypes for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but never made it in the game. And it was really cool that a little bit of lost history kind of found its way back into the game. And I think just like the DuckTales song, I wonder how much other music is just lost out there waiting to be discovered again. This next track, I honestly cannot believe that it was an unused track, let alone the second unused track. But this is Unused Song 2 from the game The Flintstones, and it was composed by Dean Evans. That really calming and unused track that you heard, that was Unused Song 2 from the game The Flintstones, and it was composed by Dean Evans. And that's going to just about do it for the show this week. If you like what you've been listening to, have your friends check the show out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, whatever podcatching service that you can think of. I'm more than likely going to be on there. You can email the show at vgmjourney@yahoo.com, and you can check us out on Twitter at vgmjourney. We also have a Discord server, so I will provide a link in the show notes. And we're also going to play things out with one more track. And it's coming to us from Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards. This is Friends, and it's composed by Hirikazu Ando and Jin Ishikawa. Have a good week, everyone.